Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Ryan St. John from Luxul to review the Easy Setup app and the new products and features of the new line.
All right, very good.
Ryan, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rick. All right, brother, appreciate it. As Rick mentioned, we're excited to be a part of the webinar series at AllNet, and we will have Chris joining us as his plane lands here in about 25-30 minutes. So anything that gets too far into the weeds, we can work to solve, and look forward to this being great use of your time. So please do not hesitate to reach out with any questions by typing them into the chat box, and we'll address those by the end of the call for certain. My role with the new Legrand AV division is to support the Legrand AV experience for all parties involved: dealers, distributors, rep agencies, my coworkers, end users, through the dealer, of course, but to make sure everything goes well. And I'm responsible for territory sales management in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Anything outside of those 3 states, I'll gladly point you in the right direction, make sure that you're in a good spot. But they have changed into this new focus, with the focus being on the custom integration CDA channel, and we're very excited about that. So Luxul being one of the 9 brands I represent today, what we'll be touching on are the Easy Setup app, some self-healing PoE switches and their updates, the customer assurance program, and the dealer portal. We want to make sure you have all the key information you need through some key topics, but the dealer portal is a great place to go at any time, especially after our call today. We always like to focus on where networking stands and why networking is starting to become more and more accepted as a utility. Absolutely, 4K TVs are all the rage right now, as are some of the other topics you see here. And you'll notice that number 2 is home networks. And I'm sure you all recognize that the network capabilities are becoming more and more demanding every day, residential, light commercial, and beyond. And when we look at what Luxul brings to the table with regards to capabilities and support and warranty, and more important for you dealers on the call, the profitability of the line, to make sure that that experience is great and give you all of the resources you need to provide an excellent solution to your end users, your customers and clients. The focus today is going to be unique in that we will not cover the entire line, but we'll welcome questions across the gamut. So as you think of networking as a utility and all the different possibilities and different scopes of work that you've managed through recently, any questions that come to mind on that are fair game. But we are focused on providing a solid solution across the entire gamut of wireless routers, gigabit routers, access points, switches, both fast and managed and unmanaged, and PoE, all sorts of options with regards to managing the network in the right way, whether it be on-site or remotely as well. I want to first touch on a couple of new products. They're not entirely brand new, but if it's been a while since you've touched base on Luxul, perhaps this webinar has encouraged you to come back into the fold a little bit. I want to make sure that we bring attention to our newest products. The AV Series AMS 1816P is a PoE plus layer 2, layer 3 managed switch, 16 gig PoE ports. You'll notice our power budget on PoE product is sufficient across majority of the device. That is a huge advantage to the Luxul line. In not all cases will you see a PoE budget that is consistent with the size of the switch with regards to ports. These are fiber supported, so you have 2 gigabit SFP ports. You can do all sorts of VLAN, QoS, full layer 2 and 3 support, as I mentioned. I really want to land on the 3-year warranty with this product and the fact that it's self-healing. That's in red because we'll be talking about self-healing and why that should be of value to everyone on the call in here in just a couple of slides. The AV series from Luxul is available in a variety of port configurations. I also like to point out that you have a switch available on the back to make the lights blue or green. And as I look at the gear in front of me here in my office, I see a mix of blue and green lights, and it sure is nice to be able to have my Luxul AV switch match at least a majority of what's going on in the rack. So if you have more questions or interest in this product, type that in and we'll make sure to touch base after the call. A second option that has launched, and this is fairly recent, became available in February, is the XMS 1208P, simply an 8-port gigabit PoE switch. Smaller form factor allows you to put this in maybe some more unique mounting or rack situations. This is just a form factor change, and of course you'll see the ports on the front versus in the AMS line. So anytime you see AMS, that's our AV line with the blue-green light switchable, and in the front panel nice and clean. Looks exceptional in those middle Atlantic rack installs. All right, so those are the two key products. Everything else in the line is fairly consistent to this point. I'm sure some of you are going to ask, Ryan, there's supposed to be an XAP 1610. And I would respond with, there is, and that is in development. And we are excited about making sure that that experience is great. We have field engineers with that deployed outside of our offices and engineering labs, and we are working through what needs to be worked through to launch that product. We're hoping to see that XAP 1610 hit the market sometime between now and the end of April. But as I'm sure you can all appreciate, we want that to go without a hitch. And we're focused on making sure that's the case. So if you have questions and hope that I would have a slide on that product, know that we will very soon. The most recent excitement and some of the reviews you may have seen, I know it's been covered in, I believe in CE Pro, Residential Systems, a couple other places, is our Easy Setup app. This is a dealer-focused, integrator-focused application that does exactly what it's called, Easy Setup. Our goal is to not only make a product line that is sufficient for all of your scopes of work, but it's also profitable. But more importantly, that doesn't mean anything unless it's easy to work with and set up. And so we've delivered that with an app that is available on Android and the iOS App Store. And so you can use your phone to work through the setup on an XWR 1200 and our XWR 3150. These are the two wireless routers that this app will work with at this time. The router must be in factory default state, so the key word is setup, right? This is for a new deployment of product in your project. Everything must be factory defaulted with regards to your SSIDs, no password, everything should be the default admin, and of course we want the router firmware to be updated to 6.3.1 or higher. If there's updates beyond that, you'll see in a screenshot here that will be resolved, no issue, but 6.3.1 is required on the router for the app to function in the correct way. So once you've downloaded the Easy Setup app, you'll simply search for that. It'll pop right up. You can even search for Luxul. It'll come up. This will walk you through all of the key points. Now, what's important about this is maybe you're looking at this going, I don't need that level of help. I like to point out that it will make sure that everything is connected properly for anyone new to the gig, right? So no pun intended. And we want to make sure that everything's working properly. Once it connects to the router, you will be asked to check the display and make sure there's lights flashing rapidly. And once you've confirmed that they are, it'll ask you to set the administrator password. And I'm sure as a custom integrator on the call, you're excited to see that you would set that administrator password immediately. So whether that's something you'll share with your client or not is clearly up to you, but it certainly allows you to own the network as much as you prefer. Once you're connected, your router will immediately check for a firmware update. On this screenshot, you can see that 642 has not been downloaded yet to this 3150 we're using in this example. It will pull the update down. It will manage all of the rebooting and getting the update going and make sure that everything is reconnected. This process can take, of course, depending on network connection speeds, this process we anticipate to take 2 to 4 minutes the most. And the rest of the setup takes maybe 90 seconds. So walking through this process, you can expect to have a setup taken care of on a Luxul integration within 5 minutes. Once everything's up to date, it will ask you to walk through the process to set up your additional APs. So if you have access points on the network, it'll ask you to plug them in. It'll tell you that on a 3150, you can plug in up to 2 access points. It's important to note that if you're going beyond that, you will need to use the XWC1000. That is an access point wireless controller that will allow you to connect 16 access points. In this example, we're relying on a standard residential install where we typically see 1 or 2 XAP, WAP 1510s or 810s on the network. It'll ask you to set up the 2.4 gigahertz name, your SSID. It'll also ask you to set up your password. So we've chosen something very straightforward, easy setup and password in this example. Certainly encourage everyone on the call to be a little more cryptic with the password at least. But this allows you to customize with the customer very quickly, not have to have your laptop with you, reconnecting to routers, et cetera, et cetera. This app, as you can see, we're on our 8th screenshot here as far as operation goes, and we're already typing passwords. It'll then prompt you to set up your 5 gigahertz network. And so we encourage you to use the same nomenclature and simply add 5G. But again, each install is unique, so whatever seems to land best and resonate best with your customer is great. At this point, it will apply those changes and reconnect to the network, and then it will give you everything that you need with regards to the URL you'll use on a web browser going forward for any sort of detailed setup. It'll give you your network info if you choose, and once you touch on that, you can share that information. So it'll allow you to send a text, et cetera, et cetera. That way everyone can see, okay, on the Wi-Fi information at the bottom, I'm looking for easy setup. My password is password, and you get the idea on how you would quickly share that out. So the Easy Setup app, as a quick recap, available on Android and iOS. You can see how very straightforward that is. I think it's appropriately named. And all of the reviews that we've had thus far, whether they've been in print or in meetings that I've had during some of my sales call activity, have been incredibly positive. I'm excited about deploying my next system. I have not taken the time to reboot my system and bring it back to factory default to walk through the app, but there are different videos, et cetera, available on the dealer portal. If you're bored and you'd like to check out the app, I would encourage you to take maybe a new router out of the box, set it up real quick, or default your network that you work with and check it out. The next topic that we'd like to touch on today is the self-healing power over Ethernet. Self-healing PoE is important for a variety of reasons. It is designed to ensure that your PoE devices, like access points and cameras and other AV over IP systems, are always online and are seeing communication with the switch and the network. Self-healing PoE will support any PoE-enabled device with an IP address, including access points. So again, cameras, control panels, AV over IP, VoIP control, and some of those light commercial installs, all of those devices are compatible with this new feature. This is part of the firmware release that Luxul automatically pushed to PoE switches, 4.1.1. So 4.1.1 is the Luxul campaign that you may have seen, and this is available on select switches. Self-healing PoE is available on the 1208 switch that we talked about earlier today. It's available on the 1816 switch that we touched on earlier today. And you can see the variety of port configurations that we have on the other 6 switches that are listed here. You'll see the AMS 1208 and the XMS 1208. Again, the ports just being on the front versus the back on that AMS versus XMS. The most popular devices that we have are quickly becoming that 1208. It's a nice feature to have as far as port configuration and size. But a lot of folks do use the XMS and AMS 2624. Kind of has proven to be the most flexible option. It is nice to have the choice on all sorts of configurations, though. So self-healing will work on all of these devices as long as the firmware has been updated to 4.1.1. With PoE self-healing, we also encourage the use of scheduling. Scheduling is important because it allows you to do a variety of things, such as turning off Wi-Fi at bedtime. So we do know that there's folks that prefer not to have Wi-Fi blasted throughout their residence, and so PoE scheduling would allow you to do that. It would also allow you to control any control panels or anything that maybe you don't want broadcasting while you're away on vacation, and allows you to maybe save energy or limit access to your systems. And it's also nice to be able to control conference rooms and restaurants, auditoriums, all sorts of different light commercial spaces. Maybe after 5 p.m., that dentist office that you just did an install with no longer wants their network to be broadcast. They don't want folks using their guest network, whatever the case might be. The self-healing PoE control is done through the web interface. I do get questions if there's an app or if the Easy Setup app will allow you to use self-healing. At this time, the self-healing is managed through connecting to the PoE switch with a web interface. And you can see that you'll go to the PoE setup and auto check is there. There are options to customize certain features, and the biggest thing is making sure that the setup time, the reboot time, if you know a device boots quickly, think a DirecTV box now, right? Comes up quickly if you have that on a PDU, right? And you need to make sure that gets powered down and powered up. Or think a Comcast box, which boots up very slowly, right? And so it's going to be a while before you can check its status again. Anything along those lines. Maybe a router, ISP device boots up relatively quickly inside of 30 seconds. You can set that up. And so you have full customization capabilities. When you go into the scheduling, that'll be right above auto check in the menu on the left-hand side. And you can see how you would choose a port. And right here, the status on this 24 port switch, there's nothing scheduled. And so you can go in at any hour, any day, tell the port what to do, whether it be off, whether it be on, whether it just power cycle. Perhaps at 3 a.m. you want the modem just to reboot because you know that it gives you a hard time every day, and the ISP device is not considered to be reliable from that standpoint. But the only thing you can do with it is unplug it and plug it back in. So you can go ahead and set that up. Again, you would use a PDU device to power cycle a non-PoE device, but you could absolutely use a PDU-02 and create that schedule. So what it will do is the switch will look out. This is a graphical representation. I think everybody gets the idea, but it'll check your access point, all good. It'll check your camera, needs attention. And a lot of times, I'm sure you've all rolled a truck to find out that all you had to do was power cycle the camera. Self-healing PoE from Luxul will take care of that before it's even known to be an issue. So if that camera is not communicating well, this switch can be set up to ping Google. Yep, the internet's good. I need to power cycle this device, bring it back online. And a lot of times you won't even know that there's an issue as an integrator. Certainly your homeowner may not even know. And so that's really the key feature behind all of that is really going to land on your access points in your cameras. That's why you see those at the top of your screen. But certainly control panels on the wall, POS devices. When you look at VoIP, again, in small commercial, those are critical systems as well. All of those can self-heal. If they're not seeing the network properly, a simple power cycle by the switch versus a phone call and a truck roll is much more advantageous. The next topic we'd like to make sure everyone is aware of is highly beneficial to everyone on the call, including myself. The Customer Assurance Program is a fantastic option for all your networking guru needs. I remember as a former integrator not being an expert at everything we had available for our clients. I remember not being okay with that in a lot of cases, but I also remember there were certain things that I just was not gifted at, and that's okay. And so with regards to networking, I'm sure you're all nodding at some point going, I am not a network guy. That is not what I, quote, do. I didn't go to school for that, or whatever else you might be thinking. And some of you might be thinking, Customer Assurance Program, I'm a network expert. I got a guy that works in my firm. He does an excellent job. We're good. And I've run into both cases with regards to this program. I'd like to share it with you. If it's new to you, this is going to be great. If it's not, those 2 bullet points will stand out for you, I hope. So if you're not a network design guru, we'll do it for you. What you do is simply log into the dealer portal by going to Luxul.com. That is something we're going to touch on here next. You'll register the project and you'll send in as much information, including your plans, as possible. We, of course, will answer some questions with you with regards to construction type, maybe any outdoor needs, anything that you might think of that would be good questions. Do we need to hide anything? What sort of devices, device count? You have the idea, I'm sure. At that point, our team will go to work back in Draper, Utah, and get a design. You'll get a design from us that will allow you to see exactly what we recommend from a bill of materials and an install placement standpoint. Once you install and configure per the design, if the design does not perform either on the wired or the wireless side, because we've partnered with you in this design, we make it right by getting exactly what you need for free. It's free. We are the only network company crazy enough to guarantee Wi-Fi performance. You'll go to Luxul.com/assurance, and that's where you'll be able to work through this program. We will provide a view, PDF view, that will talk to your client. You can share that with them if you'd like or not, but we will provide all of the information you need to explain why certain things are important. Router limits, as an example, being able to control what's being done on the network resonates well with parents. Domos, being able to have remote access and allowing you to work through those questions. And then more importantly, placement and helping the customer understand that we are looking to place this product, this access point in this closet or in this space because this is what's going to allow your network to perform flawlessly. If we don't do that, we can't guarantee that you'll be happy, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, with the performance of your network. 3-year warranty, fully guaranteed support. So if I am a network guru and I know what I'm doing, I'm all in on having someone tell me what they recommend, because then I'm like, look, man, it ain't working. I need you to help me, right? If I'm not a network guru, this is awesome. Now I know exactly what I need as far as product. I know exactly where to install it. I have an easy setup app that I can use to make it all go. And my network switches for the camera system I just installed support self-healing. I'm all in. And that's exactly the picture we're hoping to paint today. We'll help you design it. We'll help you set it up very easily. And we'll make sure everything stays online and functional. And if you're not all about the network all the time, I'm guessing you're smiling pretty big right now. The customer assurance program will, again, as I mentioned, bring all of the right design, the right equipment, the right management. We'll do all that for you. This is at no additional cost. And so you can see here an example of the project plans. We'll give you heat mapping. We'll make sure that the design is certified from a bill of material standpoint. We'll send it all back to you. You just work with your rep, myself, or your distributor partner, and we'll make sure that your order gets processed quickly and get out the door. And then we will also ensure that if your design does not work properly, I can't say it enough, wired or wireless, we get you the new equipment. If you told us that the patio area was critical because there's entertainment space and an outdoor kitchen and the Wi-Fi is not performing and we didn't recommend a WAP 1440, then we need to solve that for you. And we'll that's on us at that point. You did tell us that that pool and that outdoor entertainment area was critical, and we failed to include that in our design. Side note, hopefully that won't happen, right? But if it does, we got your back. Tech support is on call for you Monday through Friday. That is a dealer-facing tech support. We will absolutely be polite to your customer. We will absolutely answer some very basic questions, but we will always redirect those customers that happen to find Luxul.com on their own. We will always redirect them back to their dealer, their installer, their custom integrator. That 3-year warranty, that tech support for life, that is focused on taking care of our dealer channel, and we want to make sure that that's a great experience. We are not focused on heavily communicating, even outreach, none of that with your clients. That is for you to manage, and we're happy to support you. So with that said, we've covered quite a bit, and a lot of it's pretty straightforward. However, some of it may be something you want to share with someone else. Maybe you want to revisit it. Maybe there's just times you're in the field and you're like, Brian, I got to tell you, there's times I wish I could just find what I need quickly. You guys do a great job at tech support. I don't want to always have to call somebody. What can I do? You can go to Luxul.com and you can go to the dealer portal and you can register for access, join mailing lists, hop into some how-to videos, recorded webinars, presentations, always something happening. And so you'll see here in the upper right-hand corner, there's dealer portal. When you click on that, it'll ask you to walk through the setup, register for access. Once you're in there, you'll have access to all of our webinar courses. There are 3 key courses that are category focused. We will certainly bring to light the solutions that Luxul can offer you with regards to these topics, but it's important that we are seen as a partner in the industry and educating you on networking in general. So IP networking basics, wireless networking basics, and wireless controller and roaming. Roaming is a feature that we didn't touch on today, but our active roaming assist is first in class and really takes the smoothness of a multiple access point setup to the next level. The ability for your clients to have flawless wireless performance is all because of our wireless controller and roaming. And so I encourage you, if you haven't already become familiar with those 2 topics, to hop into the dealer portal and check that out. These are quick, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, but they're webinars. Some of these are quick videos. So that as you have time, you kind of dive in and out of this and absorb and consume the content that's important to you. We do touch on securing remote network access. VLANs and guest networks and how does this router limits work? Ryan, talk to me more about donuts. We do all that stuff. And so we can bring all of that to the dealer portal. This is the view that you'll see. And so you can see there's more than what I've just shared with you, clearly. Anything that you would need from product to general info is available on dealer portal. So at this time, I would like to pause. I think we are right at about 10:30. And so I want to make sure that we answer any questions. It looks like Chris Kovacek may be on, but Rick, you can, not I.
I am.
All right. So Rick, any questions that we want to tee up? That would be great.
Yeah, I've got some questions here. So can you hear me? Um, can everyone hear me?
I
Yep.
can.
Okay, perfect. All right, let me start bringing this up. So how long has the switch firmware update been available? That's the first question that came out. I think we're talking about 411, correct? That's what we were talking
Yes.
about just a moment ago, Ryan?
That's the one, 411, yes. Chris,
Okay.
what's the exact date that launched?
That was in November, I believe, of 2018.
Oh, okay. So it's been out for a little bit.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, and we always recommend whenever you get product, whether it come, direct channel through AllNet, et cetera, check your firmware because you never know if the thing's been here, if we got it in the week before you picked it up, or if it's been here for 30, 60 days. So we try to keep a good amount of inventory on hand, and that, of course, means that sometimes product sits here for a month or so. All right, the next question that comes up, let me see, regarding using the XWC. How does it handle roaming with Apple devices? I've had issues with Apple devices in the past with certain platforms.
So the XWC 1000 is a controller that will allow you to connect up to 16 wireless access points. And so with Luxul, when we deploy a 3150 or a 1200 wireless router, and we deploy that either directly connected to access points or through the XWC 1000, what happens is that network is capable of active roaming assist. And so with regards to your exact question, Apple, I'm sure you're asking, is known to be incredibly sticky. It likes the one access point out of the three in an install. Active roaming assist is constantly monitoring the Wi-Fi connection signal strength of wireless connections. When it determines that an iPhone on the system needs to be on the second floor WAP 1510, it will force that iPhone to move to that 1510. And so it will do that with fast roaming. That will be even faster than fast roaming, which is, I'm sure, a topic or a feature that we've all heard and read about. But the key part is active. And so our algorithms take that client decision, that iPhone's choice to move, out of the iPhone's bucket. We tell the iPhone where to connect. And so using our controller, whether it be with the wireless router or the XWC 1000, ensures flawless Wi-Fi performance with devices like iPhones.
All right, thank you. All right, the next question that comes up is through the Easy Setup app for jobs that include IP cameras, will it allow you to define which devices are connected, UDP versus TCP?
So when we look at the Easy Setup app, it's important to remember that that allows us to deploy our wireless network, allows us to name and provide password credentials to our wireless network and get all the access points online. As we move into what we might look for in IP reservation, DHCP client tables, any sort of detailed management, that will all be managed on the web interface still at this time. So as we continue to further develop what we can bring to the table as Luxul with our app, we may, keyword is may, Ryan did not say will, Ryan said may, see more and more of that get folded in. But at this time, the basics are part of the Easy Setup app, and the details with regards to this question are managed on the web interface, on the switch, router, whatever device you're working with.
Okay, thank you. I've got a follow-up question on web interface, actually, so perfect segue here. So when we first launched, you said, hey, if you've got a Luxul product either in the shop or in your home office, et cetera, and you want to practice with Easy App or allow your techs to practice with Easy App to factory default. So if we save a config before we factory default, we can build on Easy, and then we can go back through the web interface and restore via our laptop or et cetera with the web interface, correct?
Chris, I'll leave
Say
this to
that
you.
one more time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Say that one more time for me.
Sure. So early in the call, Ryan was saying that if companies wanted to learn the Easy Setup app, and maybe they had a, a Luxul system in their shop that they were tinkering with, or one, it's someone's home, they could factory default it and then play with the Easy Setup app and learn how fast it is. And the question comes, if they want to save their config before they factory default, so they can build on the Easy app, and then they can factory default that build and then restore their previous saved config via the web interface, correct?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right. So,
Sorry for
because
the
I think
dinging.
that no worries. I think that some people are concerned about if they've got an elaborate config and they don't want to lose their special
Well,
setup,
no.
the secret sauce that made everything work, like at at the tech's house
Yeah,
or at the boss's house or at the shop.
I don't blame them. And quite honestly, if they have that deep of a configuration in any device, that would not be the device I'm testing on.
Yeah, that's probably good
You know,
advice as well.
so if you've got an elaborate system, if you want to take, for example, I'll give you my house, for example. I've got an Epic 5 and 2 switches and 7 access points and blah, 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 and I've got beta product on it. I've got a separate 3150 that sits all by itself that gets tested on.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So, yeah, in that particular instance, they can use the pup code for product. If they're looking to really test and they're new to stuff, we have sample product available for them as well. But while yes, in absolute theory, they can absolutely do that by saving a config and uploading it again, I would not make that a best practice.
Okay, fair enough. All right, and we already touched on UDP that requires going into web interface. All right, I'm going to go back and see what other additional questions we have. I don't know why, but the panes all docked together and now they're hidden. Okay. Is there a recommended switch or configuration or models that are known to work with Dante or the other AES 67 audio networks? This is going to be one of our commercial AV guys, I'm sure.
Man, I know this one, and I can't remember it right off the top of my head. I might actually have to get back to you on that one.
Well, here I can help. So any of the when you go to the Luxul website and it lists the product that is optimized for video over IP, those will absolutely work well with any of the Dante products. All right. So Greg is asking a question about an issue that he had in the field. UPnP was turning itself off in certain switches. Tech support did not have a fix at the time. Do you know of one?
In certain situations. No, I can't say I've heard of this. How long ago was this?
Greg, do you want to type in a quick follow-up here? Was this a recent thing, or was this something that was happening a bit ago? Within about a week, it's a UPnP turning itself off in a system with a Elan control system.
I have not heard anything about that. Do we know what I can do is after the call, if somebody wants to follow up with an email to myself or Ryan, I can put you in touch with who would know that answer inside corporate. But I haven't heard anything on that.
Okay. All right, Greg, I will follow up with you on that one. All right, so Nick is asking, any known issues with using spanning tree to allow for multiple redundant paths between two managed switches, i.e. a fiber primary with a copper redundant path?
No.
Okay.
Simple enough answer?
That is a simple answer. So
no. No known issues. We
Pretty
have
much
actually
SFPs, right? I mean, you're just using the SFP and you're choosing fiber or copper.
right.
I don't even
Yeah,
know
it's
there was
not going to double pass.
to do two paths. Okay. So Nick, I think that the best practice is to stack your switches with, obviously through the SFPs, and then use either the fiber modules, or if it's short enough, you can use the copper module. Um, let us know if you need any additional follow up on that one, or if there's a competitive, like another product that you've been using and you're trying to duplicate something that's already been done, or something that a client or an IT department is requesting. We can figure out if something that we can support. Okay, Ryan, this is a sales question. What is the difference between the new flagship access point and the 1510? Real world differences.
Well, that's a great question. When we look at what the 1610 will deliver, we're looking at a true 4x4 situation, right? And then we're also looking at some additional networking options that'll come with that. The challenge is while that is future proofing a system, majority of devices won't support or even see a 4x4 configuration. And so while the 1610 is going to be a fantastic device and appliance and network setup, we're still excited to see which devices will come to market to fully take advantage. Chris, anything you want to add there?
No, I mean, it's all going to be relative speed based on the 4x4, the trans. So there's no more coverage area. There's no less coverage area. It will be faster to devices, as Ryan spoke of, that are capable of handling that speed. But there isn't anything out on the market that is yet. So.
Okay, so does it have additional device capacity? Can it communicate to more devices than the product that we've had on the shelves for the last year or so? Anything like that?
Well, I should say it is multi-user MIMO, so I apologize for that. So its speed is going to be on the 4x4 basis and multi-user MIMO. It's Wave 2. As far as client capability, no, it's at 256, which is the same as the 1510. But speed, again, based on having 4 antennas and being multi-user and Wave 2.
Okay, thanks. All right. Scrolling back through, I don't see any more questions. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to type them into the questions box. We've got some good resources on the call today, so please feel free to let's give them some tough ones. Chris, anything you'd like to share from your perspective, like for our guys that are doing higher level resi and light commercial installs?
What we're seeing, in reference to the higher end stuff, and when we get into light commercial, obviously number of access points. The XWC 2000 will be out sometime. I'm not going to put a time frame on it because we're pushing to get the 1610 out the door first. The 2000 will follow that. It'll hold up to 32 access points and have active roaming, so that'll help in a lot of the light commercial stuff. We still encourage the use of the CAP program, as Ryan was speaking about, for anything from a 2 access point up system. So we'll do light commercial mapping. We'll do point-to-point mapping for your dealers. We really want them to take advantage of that. It helps them to determine the best location for access points. It also helps us determine the best product for the particular application, because a lot of the times there's stuff that's available or stuff that works a certain way that they don't know about. So we can really utilize what we know internally from an engineering and technical standpoint to help them. As far as bigger systems go, really not a ton new information. Obviously, the Epic 5 has been rock solid. The 1510s are rock solid. The reason we haven't released the 1610 yet is because we want it to be rock solid. So we're making sure we're putting it through its paces. Other than that, no, it's clicking away, and I think a lot of the guys have backed off because they're trying to hold out for the 1610, and the 1510 does an absolute fantastic job, and it's going to continue to for probably 2 more years until the other devices out in the market, meaning all of our portable stuff, actually catch up to it. So I'm happy to answer any other questions anybody else has. I apologize if I sound a little groggy. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. I'm kind of out of it.
No, we're doing great. All right, so I've got kind of an old school question. These are the questions that we were asked a lot when wireless access point implementation in Resi started to really take off. Like once, we got past the iMac, and the 1 or 2 devices within proximity of a wireless router, and we started distributing throughout the house. And it comes to do with orientation of an access point. Is there anything in the modern access points of today that would be of benefit to move an access point to the ceiling if the cable is already pulled for a surface mount on a wall? So in other words, horizontal versus vertical orientation. Is there any advantage or disadvantage to one versus the other?
Based strictly on environment. There's no advantage to the actual coverage area as far as the access point is concerned. Everybody always asks, is the front hotter than the back? I can tell you from a map in a lab, you get about 3 feet more off the front because you have an aluminum heat sink on the back. So there is no discernible difference. When it comes to mounting vertically or horizontally, it's all up to the environment. So a lot of the times the reason we see ceilings more prevalent is because we have that open space above it, which is easier to run wire, or the interior walls are filled with electrical wires. Sometimes they have, duct work in them. There's all kinds of things that could inhibit Wi-Fi signal, prohibit Wi-Fi signal. So it really is up to the environment, but there is no advantage or disadvantage when it's just up to the access point.
All right, thanks for the clarification on that one. We used to get that occasionally with it's probably been about 8 years ago now. There were a handful of brands that still had external antennas, which that's how you can kind of tell when you're looking at a dinosaur product. And the people were very particular about the orientation of the antennas, as whether or not it was set up properly. So, and it cracks me up now. Obviously, all the antennas are internal. Just like a cell phone. We haven't had a cell phone with an external antenna for 15 years because antennas have gotten better, radios have gotten better. So it always cracks me up when people are super concerned about things from that technology has passed by. All right. Thank you, team. This was a great presentation, wonderful information. So thank you, John and Elizabeth. Let me see. I think that was, that's the last question that has popped in here. So, all right, and we're just a little bit shy of 12. So if anyone has any quick questions, we can pop on. Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap this up. So.
Yep. Rick, I just want to say, on behalf of Chris and myself and, the entire AV, Legrand AV team, we appreciate everyone taking time to spend 45, 50 minutes with us, diving in as much as we can with regards to Luxul. We're excited about where we're headed with new product. We're excited about where we stand today with current solutions. And, Chris and I and the rest of the sales team, we're passionate about making sure everyone has a great experience. So if at any time we can be of support, do not hesitate to reach out. We're always happy to have great conversations around how we can help your projects and at the end of the day, help everyone stay profitable and make a little bit more money and make a few more customers, because that's what it's all about, right? Is having some fun and making customers and making a little bit of money. So thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you very soon, and maybe that's on the phone, or maybe that's in a sales call, maybe that's while we're hanging out at AllNet together at the same time, whatever that might be. So look forward to a great spring, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. Thanks again to Ryan. Thanks again to Chris. Chris, get yourself some coffee, buddy. I want to thank everyone for taking. Thanks, everyone, for taking the time. This recording will be archived, and we will have it posted on our YouTube channel. Give us about 7 days. If you got any questions about any of the AllNet webinar series, please feel free to reach out to me via email, rick.murphy@allnetdistributing.com. And we're going to go ahead and end the call right now. Thank you, everyone.